centre. Oh, this could be an opening. The man didn't want to have the opening. It's Lawrence Sheffield. That is the moment. The moment of matters.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Hearts on Sleeves podcast. It's a podcast that's all about Heart of Midlothian Football Club, its fans, and all the ups and downs we experience both on and off the pitch. Now, this week we are joined by the full complement. We've got Trunter, myself, Adam, and John. Trunter, I'll come to you first of all. You talked a little bit last week about things that have been going on. How are you doing this week?
Really well, man. Really well. Thanks for asking, dude. I appreciate that. Yeah, had a much better week. I think again, just talking. It's funny. I was listening back to the podcast from last week, and I hadn't realized at the time when I was talking how kind of like labored and difficult it was for me to get the words out. And just looking back on it, I can kind of remember trying to get stuff across, and it was just it really is hard to talk about. Like not even just because it's tough subject matter, but I didn't realize how difficult it was until I heard it back. But honestly, thanks to you guys for listening to me, and thanks. I've had some nice feedback from people as well. So yeah, I really appreciate that. But I just sort of kind of got my ducks in order last week, which has kind of really helped me a lot. And I actually had a really good week at work, and like I had this one phenomenal day, which kind of put everything in perspective. So I dressed up at like the cafe sort of garden center place that I work at, is called Archfield Wall Garden, and I dressed up as Santa Claus last week to be Santa Paws. And I know,
Hey.
like, I think you guys have seen it, but it was like a few hours of me just sort of doing like a photo opportunity with dogs that come into my work, and just having a wee play with the dogs, and honestly, it was quite funny how buzzed I was after it. Like I just come from this like really kind of like sort of low place, and just you just sort of think, how am I going to get out of this funk? And then I had this amazing day. Not that I'm trying to go, oh, look at this, but if you look up Archfield Wall Garden on like Facebook and your Insta and stuff, you'll just see me looking like a total fanny and just loving it. And I think there's probably a lot of people who kind of resonate, when you do something that just makes you super happy. So that was me last week, and just kind of, like I say, a lot more things kind of fell into order. And yeah, so thanks for checking in, everybody. Really, really appreciate that. How are you, Jamie?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for, letting us know how you're getting on. I'm really glad things have, it's been a good week for you. I'm really glad to hear that. But also last week you talked about something you're doing for your mental health, which I'm also doing for mine, and as well as just trying to get fit. I'm currently doing couch to 5K. I used to do a bit of running back in the day, like not a huge amount, but I'm really wanting to do a proper 5K or even a 10K run somewhere near the start of next year. I don't know, within the first half of next year. And I really want to do like a sponsored one. So I want to maybe, that's kind of my main aim for it. So really kind of, yes, look, it is kind of for my own physical and mental well-being. I always feel like I need something else to have as a target. And so I thought if I, do it for something I obviously care about, then that'll keep me going. So yes, hopefully some point next year I'll be able to talk a bit about a sponsored run that I'll be doing for a charity that hopefully will resonate and, be something that people care about as much as I do. So yeah, want to just sort of bring that up. And any running tips people can give me will be very welcomed. It's already got slightly dodgy knees from doing it. It's not as easy as last time I did it. Last time I did it was in sort of my late 30s, now I'm in my early 40s. And I definitely notice on the knees a lot more now. I've got decent running shoes, so it's not that. I think it's just a case of, you go through a bit of a pain barrier when you're the aging stage I currently am before you get to the easy parts. Well, not easy parts, but It's more literal smooth running.
I'll join if we get matching hearts on sleeve shirts, definitely.
Well, John and I will be happy to join. We got some running practice before the Killie game. We had to run the whole way from where John parked to the match to make it 5 seconds before kickoff. So it should be actually, because I've been playing badminton for like a year and a half now. It was actually a lot easier than it used to be. So no, we should all do a joint one, maybe sponsored run.
That sounds like we're onto something here. Actually, I remember like being really humbled when we were running for train, Adam, after what was it? Was it a Killie game? They were running back to get
running through Glasgow from Central to Queen Street.
or was it maybe St Mirren? But either one, yeah, it was some connecting train. Doing that run as you say, and Adam just looked like he was going at a sort of gentle stroll and was going like twice the speed I was. And I'm like properly like dripping with sweat.
Well, I've never done any actual proper running, just in like sports and stuff. So I think it helps that I'm tall. But yeah, that was quite funny. I kept having to stop and make sure he was still following me.
I was.
I don't know how we made that, because it was about a 4-minute. We had about 4 minutes in between the trains or something, and we somehow managed to get there, which was pretty impressive.
The last St Mirren trip that me, Jamie, and Adam were all at, these dudes are both a solid, like 6-7 inches taller than me, and carrying a little bit less festive cheer than I carry all throughout the year. And even walking from Queen Street to Central, yeah, I was putting in probably about twice the steps that they were, and yeah, that felt fun. That was good. Enjoyed that.
If we all do a run together, right, a sponsored run, we'd probably have to try and find would we all sort of go at different times, or we'd all try and stick together? That's the big question.
Oh,
And whose pace are we going at? We're not fucking going at your pace, Adam. That's for certain.
I don't know if I could keep that up over more than 5 minutes. I've never done any.
You're not
running.
a distance runner. Yeah.
I've never practiced it or done anything, so it would take a lot of training. But no, I'd be totally up for it.
I wonder if it would all balance out, because I genuinely used to play football, twice a week up until I was in my like early mid-30s. But at school, I was a sprinter. Like I did 100 meters, 200 meters, and everything. I've always been crazy competitive. I was into skateboarding after that, so I can still sort of like do a sort of a handspring front flip now, and I'm a big old boy, so it might kill me, because I think my competitiveness would just kind of make me, no matter what, try and keep up with you dudes, even if it was not well advised.
I'm not convinced I could do it over a long distance at all, unless I had some serious training for a long period before it. I used to be quite fast when I was younger, actually, at school, but the only thing that's saving me now is just that I started playing badminton, so I'm actually running again. What about you, John? How did you get on in a race?
I'm quite quick at running when I have a drink. Sober. Do you know what? I'd probably be a bit like Hearts this season. I think I'd start quick, slow down a wee bit, and then pick back up again.
Hey, well played.
Next one.
Right, you guys go up in front, and me and John will just hang at the back. We'll do a gin run.
Yeah, I like that.
My little link was going to be, well, talking of races, feels like Hearts are back in the title race. Adam, like last week, you said, or discussed the fact that alarm bells would be going if we didn't get anything. If we didn't win against Kilmarnock. We didn't win against Kilmarnock, but we won at Parkhead. So how are you feeling now?
Well, I'm glad we're recording it after Parkhead and not after Kilmarnock. There were alarm bells ringing when we drew at home to Kilmarnock. Although it has to be said, we drew and got very unlucky with some of the decisions, particularly the penalty we didn't get in injury time. But that we've done 3 times in a row away to the Old Firm for the first time since 1959-60 season, And yeah, it's absolutely buzzing. Yeah, it's completely restored a lot of faith in the team and massive amounts of hope for what's going to happen over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think we should talk. I mean, obviously, the temptation is just to go straight into the Celtic game, but we should look at the Kilmarnock game, and it was very much a very frustrating game, all in all. You did mention, Adam, that there were decisions that didn't really go our way, but the worst decisions really on the day were decisions made by the Hearts front line, really. There was just such poor decision making when we came into or approached the Kilmarnock box. I want to actually start by just kind of going through the team lineup for that day, and then we can contrast and compare that to how we set up against Celtic. So we started off with Schwolo in goals, as usual. Back four, Porch Grevin came back in. Then back two of Kent and Finlay, Milne on the other side. Starting, we had Forrest. John was over the moon about that. Magnuson, Trunter was over the moon about that. Devlin, we were all genuinely happy about him being in. Kizaridis was also in there. And the front two of Kabori and Shankland. Now, thoughts on that lineup, John? And then, I don't want to sort of do a blow by blow of the entire game, but what were your thoughts on that lineup, and any general thoughts on the game itself?
With the lineup, I'll just keep it simple. I was just shocked, to be honest. I think we kind of got what we probably expected with that lineup. I don't think it filled anyone with confidence. And obviously Forrest starting was really just random. It just felt going into the game that there was just something not quite right about it. And I think the biggest problem in the game was just like anytime any of the players got the ball, it was back to that sort of Hearts of last season where every time the player got it, they'd turn, so they're almost facing either the goal or to their side instead of just looking forward. And that happened throughout the whole game. And yeah, I think, like you said, the biggest thing, the final third, and obviously the one with Braga when he tries to backheel it to Spittle, when he could have just played it to Kizaridis. It was just weird. It was a weird game.
Adam, your thoughts on the performance overall, and any moments that really stuck out to you during the game?
John's kind of covered a few of the things I was going to say. I didn't think it was a very good performance. A draw, probably wasn't an unfair result. I just felt like John said, we just kept passing it about. We didn't really look like. I just didn't think we were really looking like we were going to score many goals in the match, and we always just looked a bit like we could concede an equaliser. And it goes back to how it had been for the last few games, which was end of the game, we just didn't really think we were the team on the ascendancy again. So that was the worrying thing for me.
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest frustration for me. I mean, obviously conceding is a big issue in itself in the last couple of minutes, but the fact it kept on looking like it just looked so different from other games, and we covered this before, that what really changed, one of the biggest things that's changed about Hearts is that real desire to win at the end, whereas we looked really like we were trying to hold on to that 1-0 win. And I suppose, look, if I'm looking at it critically from McInnes's point of view, if he's seeing such poor decision making, I'm kind of giving McInnes a bit of credit here, actually. If he's saying that players just aren't able to make the right decisions and it's just not going to happen, I suppose it makes sense to try and hold on to the 1-0. I felt frustrated as hell at the time, but kind of reflecting back on it, I guess in a way, I kind of get it.
I get what you're saying, but I think no matter what, if it's a game at Tynecastle, you have to be the team going for it, regardless if it's 1-0, unless it's like a derby and it's like the last couple of minutes you're trying to obviously get a result there. But against Kelly at home, I think there should never be a thought of let's try and hold on or let's grind out the win. It should just be let's get another one. Let's kill them off.
I don't know what it was about the decision making that just wasn't clicking for us. Kabori got into some really good positions at times, actually, and I thought he looked pretty decent overall. But we just seemed to be playing that one. It reminded me, I hate to say it, but of the sort of Crouchley era, and maybe towards the end with Naismith, just where no one seemed to want to take a shot. I didn't really get it. Are they not want to take on that responsibility, or are they just trying to be too clever? I don't know. But I suppose the big concern was that we just looked really quite vulnerable at the back, probably more vulnerable than we've looked in some time against who is effectively the worst form team the league has to offer. Look, Schwallow was at fault, but at the same time, we've all mentioned it, we looked like a team who could concede, so it wasn't a huge surprise when we did. It should have been, as far as I'm concerned, should have been called for offside. I've not seen one photo or video yet that tells me otherwise, but it is what it is, and we kind of put ourselves in that position. We put Schwallow in that position, and we paid the price for it. Any other thoughts on performances or anyone else you want to highlight at all, John or Adam?
Oh, I'm back as well, and I thought that I was just thinking that our sort of inability to make that decisive decision to shoot was quite, and this is against Killy, but it was so different against Celtic, and it was almost like Celtic reflected the way that we'd been with shooting, and they just didn't take that. I mean, they were all over us in the first sort of half hour. And they just couldn't have finished the dinner, much like we were the other day. It's just odd.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that it was a case of, how many times did we see, particularly last season, where we had plenty of possession, but really didn't do a huge amount with it. And that's kind of how it played out for Celtic on Sunday. And yeah, so they had a couple of really big opportunities right at the start. Maeda probably should have scored at least a couple early on, but it really was a case of weathering the storm, Adam. And after that, and we actually started off in the first 5 minutes, but then Celtic really were on top for about 15 minutes. But we managed to shut them out and kind of took it from there.
I mean, I was worried. I was definitely worried going into this game. I think when we played Celtic last time, even when we played Rangers the last time, we went in quite confident. So this was a different feel, certainly, going into this one. I was a bit worried before the game we'd kind of do what we usually used to do against Celtic away, which is concede a goal in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. But really, like you said, I would say the first 25 minutes they were on top, and then after that we settled into the game and I thought we had a decent performance.
Before I bring in you, John, for some thoughts on that sort of opening half for Hearts in the Celtic game, I want to look at the comparison sort of lineup-wise to the Kilmarnock game. Again, obviously Schwallow in goals. We brought back Steinwender, which is an interesting one. Halkett and Finlay, a familiar pairing in the middle of the defence. Milne was over on the left-hand side. Then when I saw McEntee starting, I kind of just assumed he might be playing a right wing back. I was hoping not. We've covered it before. None of us feel he's a right wing back, but I thought maybe we'll just kind of make him into more of a right back, maybe playing him a bit further back, or even making Steinwender a right wing back. But no, he had him in midfield really alongside Devlin, and I mean, what a change in his game. We'll certainly come on to it. He played a very big moment in the game, that's for certain. And then up front, playing a bit higher up, was Magnuson. He kind of had a game that I think we were more expecting from him. Probably his best game for us. I'm looking forward to talking about his game, actually. Then we have Kizaridis, Braga, and unsurprisingly Shankland up front. Thoughts on that lineup, John, and sort of comparing it to the Kilmarnock game? How did you feel about that when you saw them all line up on the pitch?
I think after the Kelly game, it was again like a little bit random. I think we were all kind of, looking at Steinbender starting and going, "What? Like he's not been in for the last 2 games. Where's he come? What sort of bringing him back into the team? Looking at the bench and saying, okay, there's a few players missing again. Didn't seem to be too much logic, but obviously Adam came up to watch the game with me, and something we were actually saying or talking about, just thinking, wonder if the analytics have got, or they're using analytics to sort of help pick the team. Because I know the Celtic left winger, the Tuneki or something,
Yep.
he's really quick, and I've read before that Steinvender is one of the fastest in the team. So I'm wondering maybe if there's something there, like maybe from the manager or the analytics, that's saying, okay, if we put him up against Zanetti on that right hand side, he should have him for pace. And to be honest, I think in the game, I think he managed him really well. Like I barely remember that guy doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there maybe is something to do with analytics within the lineups. Like obviously they're not going to pick the team, but maybe they do compare, wingers to defenders, certain midfielders against other midfielders, which could come into it.
I think that's a really interesting point. And, last week we were kind of talking about the depth of a squad and how beyond the starting team, there wasn't a huge amount of quality beyond what you'd consider the typical starting 11. But this really shows there is definitely space for players to come in from the cold and have play a part, regardless of whether it was something to do with the analytics. It's certainly something that worked. I think he's maybe cut out a wee bit early on, but once he got hold of the game, he certainly seemed to hold Taneki well. And yeah, as you said, I don't recall him causing any issues for us at all.
Yeah.
Trunner, do you want to come in and talk a little bit about Magnuson? What a good game he had.
Ha 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 ha. He still absolutely fluffed the header, but he did play really, really well. And he just needs to work on that heading.
Yeah.
Then it'll be Zidane.
A week is a long time in football, after all. And you know what? We go from highs to lows. Look, I'm with you. Magnuson has, either not had great games or flattered to deceive at points. But this game, I really think I don't know if it's a positional thing or what. And, he had every right to look a bit overawed. I mean, I can't imagine he's ever played in a game really like this. At Parkhead, a huge stadium, I have to say, Celtic did a good job of building atmosphere, fireworks and everything going off. And he's a guy used to playing in the second division of the Icelandic League and so forth, and what college football in America before that or something like that. So yeah, I have to say, I mean, I think beyond just the performance itself, the most impressive thing for me with Magnuson was just how calm and collected he looked throughout that game.
I think one of the things with that is not just obviously him playing a little bit further up, but I think like the confidence of knowing that there's 2 players behind him or 2 players in midfield with him. Like I can't remember one of the other games previously. He was getting the ball sort of deeper. I think there he looked a little bit more uncomfortable or a little bit unsure. But just having like McEntee and Devlin there, and he knew that they'd sort of clean up anything. He was doing exactly what he was signed for, that sort of box to box, where he was just chasing everything constantly. Like, it worked out really well. But I think the biggest thing for us in the first half and throughout the game was Halkett being back. I thought it was unbelievable. And then obviously Kent, when Kent came on, I thought for their goal, I thought Kent was really poor. Got beaten in there really easily.
Oh yeah, and like for their goal as well, it was a bizarre one in that it felt like there's 12 Hearts players between Tierney and the goal line, but still he managed to get the ball through.
There's at least 4 Hearts players dived in to try and block that shot.
Kent goes for the header against their player, but he doesn't even jump. He like half arses it completely. I'm not going to go on a Kent rant, but
It had that like air of inevitability as well when Celtic were running down the clock, and I had this horrible feeling that it was going to end up a draw because of course it is, because it's Celtic and they'll score in the 45th minute of injury time or something. But we didn't do ourselves any favors there, and I don't think Kent showered himself in glory either.
It's possibly the most nervous I've been
Yeah.
during a match this season, because after obviously like a run that wasn't as good, to come out and beat Celtic at Parkhead, I was just really nervous when we went ahead, like absolutely desperate to hold on for the win. To me, it feels like the biggest win of the season.
So far.
But yeah, so far, yeah, of course. I also think we're going to see Magnussen get a lot better as well over the next few months.
yeah,
That's my
agreed.
Happy to be proven wrong, everyone. Happy to be proven wrong.
I
Absolutely.
think it's same with Steinbender as well, though. I think it could be the start of him looking more comfortable. I think even with McEntee playing just in front of him and sort of the right of the midfield, I think it gives him the ability, because Steinbender obviously looks more like a sort of centre back in like a back three sort of player, looks more comfortable there. If McEntee sort of moves out to the right, then he's basically playing that position. Like it's weird how like little things can sort of affect other players, but yeah, I noticed a lot more in that game. And I think Steinbender will come good for us.
Now, we'll come back to sort of our overall feelings about the match and particular performances. I'll switch back to the first half and we can cover the Braga goal, which was the weirdest celebration I've ever done to a goal. So, I mean, I was watching it from home, but I don't know about you guys, but I kind of half celebrated because I just assumed it was offside, as did everyone. But then, as soon as Braga started celebrating,
Yeah, I told Adam straight away. I was like, "That's definitely onside. It's going to count."
Yeah,
he just
we
didn't believe me.
I mean, if you watch the goal back, you actually see Braga react. So when after Braga touches it before the goal, like when he headers it, he actually puts his head in his hands practically, thinking that's it. He's caused an offside. So he looks like he thought he was offside as well.
Everyone seemed to give up after Milne kind of whiffed that. And
So
obviously
I'm not
Braga
sure there's
didn't give
anyone.
up, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's obviously the lesson, isn't it? I mean, the Celtic guys stopping, or well, they didn't stop,
Yeah.
but you can't.
You play the whistle. That's the first lesson in football.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. Again, like you guys are like you think, you look at that, especially as like a fan of football as it is now. There's obviously something, something's been flagged, yada yada yada, but no, like nothing had been flagged or whistled or anything. And Braga, absolute legend, just was like, hey, I'm in here, lads.
It's interesting as well that that was the Celtic captain who took the ball off, who McGregor.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, it
stopped,
was.
and you're thinking, especially a player of his quality and his experience, to just stop. It gave me a bit of confidence watching. That's their main player, and he's given up. It's good signs.
Do you know what our expected? I mean, I hate expected goals XG, whatever you like to call it, but our XG before Braga's strike was 0.03. I'm surprised that's even considered registering for it. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair though, they had 5 shots to our 3, and both only had 1. Like I say, other than those ones from Maeda, they didn't really do much with it. And we took, an opportunity came its way. Unfair play to Braga. He just went for it. He took it when everyone else seemed to have given up. And then we went to the second half, a goal to the good. Trunter, I'm going to come to you for sort of your initial thoughts on that second half. I felt, by and large, we controlled it pretty well. I don't know, but I think I expected Celtic to really come into the game more. But I think the way we were set up, we did a really good job of pouncing on any opportunities we could. We did a good job of pressing them. And also, just the whole complexion of the game changed with that goal. And we just really seemed to have a greater sense of confidence in our play. Your thoughts on the second half up until we scored?
I mean, I was going to say confidence straight up because it was like chalk and cheese from watching that first half. It was, I don't know. I think as well the manner of the goal. It's not that it felt like fluky, but it felt. I was like, oh man, we're lucky to be one up here, because it was quite silly, the goal, with the Celtic players like just checking out, and they'd really been on us for at least sort of half an hour of that first half. Second half, it felt like the last few weeks, the kind of not knowing what we were doing and kind of being just like blown away. There was so much more control and just like an idea of what we were supposed to be doing. Like again, that will to win that we were talking about, and we've maybe lost a little bit when we've been, scoring late goals and stuff. That felt like it was back. And personally, just like watching it, I had that belief. I didn't think that we were going to lose it after that. I thought we were going to
Yeah.
get humped in the first half. And there was one of the things that just like, I don't know why it filled me with like such confidence, but it was seeing the Celtic manager with his Connect Four board thing. It just something about that just made me. I was like, we are going to win this match. Something about not having Martin O'Neill there. Now I know I probably shouldn't like Martin O'Neill, but I just kind of do, and I think he's. He was phenomenal for Celtic in his like first reign. That I think that was a massive plus for us. Having the new manager unbounce, I think, and I think he looked like a fanny. I just think, like, I think that fed into it. This is Scottish football. You come here with that shit. And I know that's not necessarily going to feed into the hardest players on the pitch, but it gave me belief anyway. Just seeing the silly magnetic things on the whiteboard. Yeah, that. But yeah, for Hearts, I just think it was that level of confidence that we got back, and the fact that we could actually contain the ball and then work a plan, which I don't think we really had in the first half.
I know what you mean about O'Neill. It was such a boon to not have him in the dugout. He's, regardless of what you think about him, I think we can all agree he is a phenomenal manager. And you could see the change in the players and the respect they had for him.
Yeah.
And just seeing, there's like a picture of Tierney who kind of just has a, what the fuck are you on about? Look about him as, as he's looking at the board. Like, maybe it'll be, if Celtic had gone on to win the game, it would have just been a bit of a funny meme thing. Look, it is a funny meme thing, but it's also like, I said last week, this is such a good opportunity for us. If we are even so much to get a draw, but the fact we managed to get a win, which really kind of wasn't on my bingo card, but it's such a good opportunity for us to really help turn the tide of the Celtic fans once again against the board. The board has kind of got the Celtic fans on their side once again for the getting O'Neill in, and just after a performance like that and a manager who's, look, it could work well for them, this tactics board at some point, but the optics just after a defeat like that, after a fairly, ineffective and at times a bit passive performance from Celtic, so useful for us to help turn the Celtic fans against their team.
Can anyone remember which magnet colours he had as his own team? Was it
Yep,
red or blue?
blue.
I thought it was blue.
Brilliant.
I didn't want to say it until I'd kind of confirmed it. That's just
It's
that's
hilarious.
oh my god, the optics are just incredible. That is too golden, man. Oh,
Have you seen the Celtic fans like trying to defend them with the photos? I think it's afterwards of him and showing Tierney the board, and like, yeah, well, Tierney went up and scored. It's like, well, yeah, but so did Hearts. We
yeah.
scored before that. Brilliant job, Tierney.
And it wasn't a great play either. It was kind of like a pump everyone forward, and it was relying on the fact that Kieran Tierney's class. Oh god, just phenomenal.
If there's two people I really wanted to score today, it was Braga, because he's kind of been a bit out of it for a while, not really scoring much, not really providing much. So I was really happy for him to get his goal. But the other person was McEntee, just because I think he's had a really tough shift over the past few games. It's been a bit of a thankless job he's had. So for him to come on and score that absolute fucking belter of a header, and the best thing about it is when you see the replay, you can see all the sort of water spray off the ball and spray off his head. It just is such a good sort of like cinematic moment. The power he got in it was unbelievable. Also great to see us scoring once again from a set piece. Adam, your thoughts?
Well, I would like to see Kizaridis get a goal if we're talking about who we wanted to score, because I think he's had a little bit of a tougher time. But delighted that McEntee scored. I think he really deserved it. We've had a really difficult run of fixtures, and it just gives everyone some belief going into Falkirk Rangers and Hibs, which is still a tough run. And I agree with you about Braga, because Braga and Kizaridis had a brilliant start, and it's been a little bit harder recently. So I think he really needed a goal as well. So it should set us up nicely for the next couple of games.
The other person I'd also like to give a shout out to, that I've not really heard many people talk about in this game, is Kingsley. Now, when he came on 70 minutes, I thought he looked really solid. And he's a guy, again, he's just the kind of player. Now, if we do happen to win silverware this season, I know everyone's going to be, obviously the people don't want to see lift up any silverware that we might get. The top of the pile of people who'd like to see do that would be, Shankland, Devlin. But for me, it's also Kingsley. He's just one of these guys who's always just put in such a shift. There's been times when he's had a bit of a dip, but that is typically, I remember that one time it was because of personal life issues he was going through. But he's just the kind of player, he could feel rightly aggrieved with being left out of recent squads, because he looked perfectly solid every time he's played for us. But then he's come back in from a few games out, and just an excellent performance. Someone you can always rely on. So I do want to just give a little shout out to Kingsley there. Any other thoughts about any particular players or performance at large?
Fucking Cammy, amazing again. There was points right at the end of the game there when there was one tackle he made when I think we were coming up. I think we're coming up to the 4 minutes of injury time, and my paranoid brain was telling me this is when they've already got one back. They're going to go up again and do it. And Cammy was like, "No, I'm having none of that." So I think our left side of the pitch, and whoever it was, but Cammy just gets in there. He just didn't stop for 90 minutes, man. Like an absolute Australian terrier even. I just thought he had a really good game. His all-round play was excellent. Again, that kind of like never say die attitude. He totally embodies it, and that's the kind of guys that you need in your team for games like that. He did well. I thought he was man of the match for me. I don't know if he got it, but
Yeah, he did.
Oh, well, shut my mouth then.
I thought Shanklin was good as well.
Yeah, Shanklin's all-round play was incredible.
Even saw
Yeah,
him tracking back, which I've never seen him do before.
yeah, I noticed that like a whole bunch of times. I was thinking, what, like, I mean, I mean, he can go deep and stuff, but it was the actual getting back and like digging out. He
Yeah,
doesn't always
like
do
it's
that.
crazy.
He'll go back to more kind of like play make, but he was really digging in. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought.
I think he definitely led by example. Even if you think about the Magnussen header and like lead up to Braga's goal as well, he was the one who was crossing the ball in as well. So he was getting
Yeah,
out wide and putting the balls in, which is kind of unusual for him. You expect him just to be in the box, waiting for it. But I thought he was. To be fair, there's a lot of good performances, obviously, but I thought he was great as well.
The other thing I want to say was that after we scored that second, the Celtic came into it a bit more, but I still felt we looked the more dangerous going forward. Kizaridis came pretty close to scoring. I have to say, I felt pretty comfortable. Look, again, you mentioned it yourself, Trunter. You're nervous because it's Celtic, right? You know there's still quality there, particularly McGregor and Tierney. And Tierney was the one who managed to pull one back with just a couple of minutes of injury time left. But I still felt we looked the more dangerous, and that's kind of given me renewed confidence going ahead that even if at times you can look a bit shaky, we've still got players who can offer up so much going up, going forward. Um, I feel still Kizredes still hasn't had a great game in the last maybe about 5 games or something like that. So it would be good. Yeah, I agree with you with that, and Adam, it would be great to see him get back amongst the goals. I mean, to be fair to him, he did have a newborn. Maybe a couple of, I think it's maybe like a month ago or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that played its part into it. To be fair.
Overall, as a team, the fact that we can. I mean, I was so checked out for the Celtic game. I was, again, as I say, after the first half hour, I just thought we looked like a team that was kind of going to sort of slump backwards slowly, and I couldn't see us getting anything out of this game. And then we're right back into it. And now I just look back at a few of the. I look back at this wee kind of like slump or mini slump or whatever, and I'm just thinking, why did that happen? Like we're absolutely capable, and the league's not as strong as it has been. I wish. I guess that's probably what McInnes is thinking as well. What is the factor that's stopping us from playing like we did against Celtic? Like why are we a team that can be beaten by other teams? Well, not even beaten, but like draw. Like, yeah, there's just like a little bit of finesse in there. It's like I feel we've got the players. I think we've always all felt that we've got the players that can do something, but something just what is that sort of like little chef's kiss?
That's a good way of putting it. We just look. It's such a cliche thing to go to, but honestly, I think a huge part of it is confidence. And you look at, and I'm certainly hoping this game is the one that can provide grounds for us to go into the Falkirk game, which we'll preview shortly, with renewed confidence. But I just think just seeing us weather the storm against Celtic, see that they weren't performing to the standard you might expect, and then for us to get a goal, we just looked totally reinvigorated after that. So I do think a huge
Yeah.
part of it is confidence, to be honest. Adam, any thoughts about the overall performance, what the result means? Anything else you'd like to talk about the game?
Just echoing what I've already said, really, which is, to get a win at Parkhead, to have beaten the Old Firm 3 times already, and we're only in December, we've got a real chance now to kick on over the next few games before the transfer window opens. So you've just got to have a lot of hope, I think, about what this team is capable of. And it's one thing, obviously, drawing against Kilmarnock and Dundee United at home, but when you can pull off a result like beating Celtic away, it does feel like we're capable of doing really great things this year.
Sort of an interesting conundrum I came up with as well was just thinking, now, if we had lost that game, is there more or less chance in us investing in the January window? Now, if we're still in with a hope of really pushing to the wire for the title, you'd have to assume that there's more reason for us to look and think, right, you know what, we've got a chance here. Let's splash the cash. Whereas if we, if we'd lost the game and then say if there is an issue with confidence and we go into another bad run like we've been on, or an even worse run potentially, then that might make them just hold off or hang fire and not invest as much in the January window. I suppose likewise also, will this be something that will spur Celtic board to try and spend money? You're going to have to imagine they're going to spend big regardless of what happened. But I suspect this will kind of be a catalyst for them to spend even more to really try and ensure that they do retain the league title. Any thoughts on that?
I've got a sneaky suspicion that they'll not try and write this year off. I think, in all reality, in all honesty, I think they might just have enough to get it over the line anyway. But I think they're going to probably give Wilfred Nancy till the end of the year to, particularly with with the first game setback. I don't think they'll throw money in straight away. I think they'll probably do that in the summer. Yeah, I think see how he does. Might be to our advantage because they were clearly cost cutting before, so I want to see what kind of budget they can do it on. If they can get it over the line, maybe maybe no.
If Celtic don't back him though, there's going to be riots from their fans. Celtic fans are already annoyed about the board. Obviously, personally, I think we should keep the board, but it's I don't know. It's a difficult one. It also depends what sort of player you bring in. He seems to have obviously it's only one game, but seems to maybe misjudged Scottish football a little bit. So I'm hoping.
I think he's going to be a scapegoat, John. Genuinely, I think he's going to be a scapegoat for this season.
Yeah, someone who takes the fall. Yeah, see what you mean.
I suppose the other thing to consider is that we'd always planned to invest in January, and we've been quite vocally and openly talked about players that we're going to go for, and positions we're expecting to look at over this time. So it's something we've clearly thought about a lot. Now, Celtic, they weren't expecting, I can't imagine, Brendan to leave his post so early on. Now, January is sort of, a notoriously difficult time to bring in players, and, you tend to have to pay premium to get players in. Now, Celtic are a club capable of paying that premium, but you have to imagine they've not done their homework quite as much as we have. I don't know for a fact, but because their plans have changed and ours haven't, you kind of think we might be a bit better prepared for this transfer window.
Yeah, I genuinely think as well. It can't be overstated how much of a terrible move it was to have that stupid whiteboard. It's crazy how yeah, right. He might be a really good manager, but just throughout. So I'm a 41-year-old man, and I've had a whole bunch of jobs, right? And whenever I've seen all the people that have been kind of above me at jobs in my life since leaving uni, all the ones that have had these almost gimmick ideas, that tends to be their thing, right? So they'll come in with like, I've got a gimmick idea, and it's always shit. And the fact that they stick with it, it kind of like, it always ends up like kind of like weakening their position, kind of with the people that work for them. And I just think that these like seasoned footballers, if this looks, I mean, they're going to see all the stuff on social media. They're going to see the one of, you know, Nancy's whiteboard forming the face of a clown, right? And that might just like feed in. Like you've just come from having Martin O'Neill, who's massively respected, and they'll all know the history. They'll all know who this man is, and he's a likable man. And he's a great man manager from you know everything that I think all of us have heard. And then they're going to go to this guy, and they're going to think there's going to be less of a level of respect. I don't know if that seems harsh, but this is just kind of how I think of, you know, stupid corporate shit, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that respect kind of has to be earned, doesn't it? Doesn't
Yeah.
it? You know, McInnes, he's a player that, sorry, he's a coach that obviously pretty much every Hearts player who was there knew, apart from some of the new ones, new guys coming in. But anyone who's played even the slightest bit of Scottish football is aware of him, and you never really hear anything remotely negative about him. So there's going to be a level of respect here. You can see they all care about him, and he cares a lot about them back. I'm not saying that won't happen with Wilfred Nancy, but I think what I'm kind of taking from what you're saying as well here a bit, Trunter, is just that it's going to take some time for that. And moments like that, where, you know, again, look, it is just a moment for the optics, where he's got his little tactics board out and it's not worked for whatever reason. His whole game plan clearly hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Moments like that can dent it early on, and that was really my hope, was that the players' confidence in him would be dented right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like coming from a completely like unrelatable league as well has it's just like the ideal kind of storm maybe to for us to get going with. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just not kind of like as well from coming from Martin O'Neill, you know, like that's such a contrast, surely, even age wise, you know.
I think the season's kind of been one where little things seem to have gone our way throughout, you know, whether it's the form of you know, the big teams, so-called big teams, injuries to other players that potentially could have been, you know, caused damage against us. There's a lot of things that kind of, and just also the timing of Celtic deciding to get Wilfred Nancy in rather than keep Martin O'Neill in for, you know, this game and say the Roma and the Cup final games that they've got coming up. That's again a decision that's clearly worked for us. You know, who's to say we wouldn't have gone on and beaten the Martin O'Neill team, but you'd have to say, well, I mean, in fact, we did say we would much rather take the gamble on Wilfred Nancy than playing a galvanised Celtic team under Martin O'Neill. So yeah, it's been a season so far where things kind of have gone our way. Falkirk, they have been, we've talked about them before, they've performed solidly throughout this season. John, you've been having a look at the Falkirk team. What is your thoughts on Falkirk at the moment and your general feelings ahead of this game on Saturday evening?
Yeah, I think it'll be a tough one. I mean, obviously they've tended to do better at home. I was having a look at sort of how they set up, and it looks like for the last wee while it's been 4-2-3-1 for every game. So I'm just trying to think how we maybe go up against that. Do we sort of stick with flat back four, maybe go a bit more attacking? I don't know. it'll be an interesting game. It's one that it's kind of hard to call because I feel like quality-wise, as we saw at Tynecastle when we played them, we obviously have more quality than they do. You know, when they've lost, they've tended to be sort of walked all over Falkirk, but they're still what was it? They're not even that far behind, like Hibs and Rangers and things. It's been crazy. I mean, the only things I could really think of is they've got a couple of decent players, but I think defensively is going to be one of their main problems, especially down sort of the right hand side of the defence. I think they've been changing between two at right back, and I think a key battle is going to be Kizzy against whoever starts at right back for them. I mean, they've got some decent players. There's that Spencer midfield that we were linked to, earlier on in the year. It was pretty decent. Somehow Brian Graham's still playing up front. So, I mean, obviously he's going to have a physical battle, but I think Halkett will have the better of him if he plays. I think we should have enough quality to beat them, but it all just comes down to on the day and how we deal with them. I think we'll have more of the ball, but it's going to be tough. But it's the better game than having say Rangers straight after Celtic or something. It's good to have a game like Falkirk, I think. And if we do blow them away before the weekend, then it's a perfect sort of warm up.
They're a hard one to plan for, they're not, because I mean they're above St Mirren, they're above Dundee United, and they're actually doing pretty well. And I mean, obviously, playing against Celtic wasn't going to be easy, but we kind of had a good idea of what we were doing against them. Falkirk are up and down, man, and that might be quite difficult for us to plan against.
We've just beaten Celtic away, so I think we've got to go in. It's a tough fixture, but I think we've got to go in with confidence to this one.
Also, I think part of the reason Graham is starting up front so much is because McIver, one of their top scorers, is out injured at the moment. So that's obviously a good thing for us. Yeah, it's an interesting one with them because the way they set up against Hibs is pretty similar actually to how we set up against Celtic. So, if we did that, they did a bit of a 4-2-3-1, and that's kind of how we set up against Celtic. So if we did that, we'd be kind of going man for man against them. It doesn't give us a huge amount of width. I don't know what, Falkirk's pitch is like as far as size goes. But, obviously Celtic's pitch is a wide one. And I don't think the lack of width really affected us too much within that game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see McInnes just stick with it. And I think also the other good thing about us having a genuinely good performance is that it means McInnes can just keep things the way they are, the way they were, and the way they are. Because one issue we've all had with McInnes over the last few games is just continuous chopping and changing. So we were at our best when we just kind of kept the same formation and pretty much keeping the same players. So hopefully this will provide us an opportunity to carry on as we were in the Celtic game. Now, one thing we didn't do last week, and we keep forgetting to do it, is take predictions. So I'm determined to get our predictions this week. I'm going to start with you, Adam. What are your thoughts for this game?
I'll say 2-0 Hearts and Kizaridis scores.
All right, John?
I was going to say 2-0, but I'm going to say 1-0. Who's going to score? I'm going to say Finlay. I think it'll be another corner.
Okay, Trunter, what are you going to go for?
I think 3-0 Hearts. I've been talking about how we never know with Falkirk. That was just, for chatter. I think Shanks, Braga. And I'm going to go for, because Benny's away. I think Cammy taps one in.
We always need the wild card, right? So
That's me, man. That's me.
fine. I'll go 3-1. Hearts, that is. I think it'll be quite a tight game, but I think we'll string a good couple of bits of play together and get ourselves a couple of goals up quite quickly in the second half. They'll pull one back towards the end, but then Kizaridis will come back and score the third for us. Before then, I think Magnuson's going to get on the score sheet, not with his head, can say that much. But I just think he looked really promising the other day, and I think he's going to get up forward and maybe have a shot from a bit of distance and get one. Shanklin's not scored in a while, so maybe I'll go for him. But no, I think Braga's got the confidence to go and score for 2 games in a row. So 3-1. It's me and Trunter's turn this week for the quizzes. Trunter, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I just hope we haven't done this one before. It does involve someone that we've had before, but if we can think of, I think the first one I don't think we've had before. Have we had Ollie Lee?
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
No, near do I. I think the one that we have had before is Cleve Dicamona. So there's a connecting club, and I'm going to throw in a little extra salt there. Salt? No, that's not right. Spice. There's another player who has also been on the books for the same team as them, but he didn't actually play. So have at it.
Luton Town.
It's not Luton.
And I think Ollie Lee, did he go to, is it like Gillingham or something like that after us?
He did.
Well, I'll just say Gillingham then, but I'm not sure.
I don't think Dicamona did, but I could easily be wrong. Hello, Wikipedia.
The only the only team I can think of that Dicamona played for other than us was Kilmarnock, but I'd say with some certainty Ollie Lee didn't play for them.
It's an English team, and he actually played like a big season for them. Not a big team, but
Unless it's a plot twist and Ollie Lee's actually got a cap for the Congolese national team.
he does. Well played.
Thank you.
Obviously, yeah. Some ancestry. The other player that was there but didn't play is Morgaro Gomez.
Was Gomez a youngster at them? Or what? He didn't play a
No,
game.
I don't think so. I think he was
a child. Okay, so he just didn't play. That's weird.
Barnett.
Oh, you're very close, but you're not quite there. Shall I give it away then?
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, it was Dagenham and Redbridge.
Oh, I was never gonna get that.
No, it was like
Not in a million years.
Just one. I think I said it in the group chat earlier. It's one of those random as hell teams that, for when you're just doom scrolling through like Wikipedia and stuff, and you just look at places that your players have played or have moved to or whatever.
Dagenham and Redbridge. That's every time I hear their name, I just think of like the voice who does the classified football results. Right. So the last time Hearts beat Falkirk away was in the 2019-2020 season. Now, during that season, there was 17 Hearts players who got a competitive goal. Name them. and I will start. You get 2 lives, so you're allowed to get 1 wrong answer. And then if you get another wrong answer, you're out. I'm going to start with you, Adam.
This is a season when I wasn't in Edinburgh, so I went to very few games. Peter Haring, did he score many goals? He's probably not the best guy for goals, actually, now I think about it.
No, he did not score a goal, so you've lost a
Right.
life right off the
What
bat.
a nightmare. I realised as soon as I said it, he probably scored about once for us.
And it wasn't then. So, right, John, I'll come to you next.
Yeah.
1920.
1920, yeah. 2019.
Boyce.
Boyce is correct. He scored 2 competitive goals for us. Trunter, you're up next.
Sean Clare.
Jean Claire, correct. He was our second top scorer with 6 goals. Right, Adam, your
Hickey
guess,
scored
please.
Aaron Hickey scored in the derby at Easter Road.
Correct. His one and only goal that season. So you're back in it, Adam. John.
Uche.
Correct. He scored 2. Trunter.
Oh fuck. I want to say your lookalike, but Jamie Walker.
Jamie Walker is indeed correct with 4 goals.
Bozanic. I'm just thinking of that derby.
Correct.
He scored in the derby, didn't he?
Yeah. Can you guess how many goals he scored that season?
Probably about 1 as well.
No, he actually managed to score
Yeah.
4, which is more than I thought.
Right.
We saw him score a free kick at Dens Park, I think, Adam.
John, you're up.
For naming players that scored in the derby, I'll go Connor Washington.
Correct.
I had him
Well
next.
Okay, Trunter.
The only other player I can remember that might have scored is because we were talking about him. Why the hell were we talking about him? But Stephen McLean.
Well done. Correct.
Nice.
Scored 2 goals.
Why were we talking about him the other day?
Oh yeah, we talked about when he signed for us. I don't remember why.
We're not talking about him and Salmon or something like that as well.
You've still not got the top scorer yet.
What?
Is it me now?
Yeah. You're not going to
Um,
believe the top scorer that season.
Naismith.
Well, he is the 3rd top scorer
Right.
with 5 goals, but yes, well done.
Yeah, 5 goals was for a top scorer. That was not a good season, was it?
No. Okay, over to you, John.
I just want to say this because he's been around for a while, but Halkett?
And you've managed to get the season's top scorer.
He was top scorer.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Jesus Christ.
7 goals he scored.
Oh fucking hell!
That just says it all about the season, doesn't it? That is grim. Okay, Trunter, over to you.
Jamie Mole? No. Trying to think of strikers, but was Connor Washington still there?
Well done. Yeah.
Hasn't John already said him?
Oh, did-
I was going to say.
So,
Oh,
Ballistic,
shite.
Timmy.
did I not mention you can actually say each player 4 times?
All right,
That goes so much
got
how
Connor
much
Washington as my
attention
next
I'm. Right, Trunter, I won't give that as a wrong answer. You can guess again.
I don't think I have another answer other than I don't know. I don't think he scored, but maybe who's in the squad? Shit.
that was quite a few players. that
Someone
season.
said Herring. Someone said Herring.
Mhm.
Yeah, he got 0. That was me.
Oh, that was your
That was my first guess.
Berra.
No. Oh yeah,
Was he
he
in the
did.
squad?
Sorry, he did. Yep, he did score. Actually, he managed to score a single goal for us. So well done.
Hey,
Right,
that's me.
Adam,
That's me
off
done. I
you go.
couldn't name another player.
Really struggling now. Suitor.
Surely.
Good shout.
Good shout, but a wrong shout. Did not score.
Actually, was more confident with that one than I was with Herring, to be honest.
Well, that's you. That's you out now, Adam.
Fairness, Suitor was injured a lot as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that was probably the
Yeah.
issue more than anything else.
All right.
John,
I've got two, but I'm not sure which one to go for. Well, I've
Connor Washington.
I'll go Michael Smith.
well
I've
done.
already said him.
You didn't.
No,
Because-
shit, I didn't.
You
You said you might go for him, but you didn't actually say his name.
yeah, you said my lookalike, and then
My
you're
God.
humming and hawing, and you didn't go
He
for it.
scored.
He did. Just the one, but it's enough to get you a point.
Oh, I'm done, man.
Any other ones, John?
Don Cowie.
No.
I've got one more if you want to try it, but
Go for it.
I don't even know if this is his name. It was the Japanese guy we got from Man City,
Yep.
like Machino or something.
Well done. Yeah, he actually managed to score 3 goals, which I'm astounded by.
John is amazing, by the way, at any season in the last 10, 15 years, by the way. I don't think
Hate him.
me and Trunter are never going to beat John in a quiz, unless we go back to before he was born.
Which we might just have to do if we want to.
1972 season next time.
Can we get
Right,
clues for the other ones?
Right, I'm just trying to figure out who you've not said. So you've said Halkett, you've said Sean Clare, you've said Naismith, you said Bozanic, you said Walker. What Connor Washington? No one said.
Oh,
so,
God, damn it. I was
um,
going to say him, Jamie.
Did anyone? Yeah, someone said Boyce, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ikpeazu,
Yeah.
McLean. Here's one that I know you've not said. Andy Irving. He
Oh,
Oh, that's not a
score
clue,
sheet.
Jamie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Actually, I've got it. Andy Irving.
Right. Okay. So we said Berra. Okay, Irish player.
it's not going to be Glenn Whelan or something, is it?
Nope.
Mulroney.
Well done. Yep. Okay, another one. A striker. He was. Did you see someone there, John?
I was going to say, is it? I don't know if this was the season before or after. It's like Jordan Roberts or something like that.
No.
No,
He was a youth player for us.
Gary
He went
McSwegan.
on loan. Youth player for us. He was here for like 6 years, quite often on loan. He looked kind of handy at times, but just never really his Hearts career never took off. And he's in my head he's still a youth player, but in fact he's 25. He's just one of those guys I'll eternally think of him as a youth player. No guesses. Currently at Airdrieonians.
First letter.
Ian Henderson.
Well done.
Ooh.
Because he's actually
How do you know that?
he's
Absolutely
one of my pals'
ridiculous.
friends. I should have said that before.
Trunter, I'm telling you, it could be anything, and John would get it.
You know what pisses me off is that I know that he's not looking up Wikipedia or anything like that either.
I know.
I've gone old school. I've got a pen and paper in front of me.
Right. This clue will give it away straight away if you know if you know what it sounds. Yeah, crap way of saying
Connor
it.
Salmon.
But, no.
Morton. Motherwell.
A Cypriot midfielder winger with the most un-Cypriot name you could ever imagine.
Steve Jobs.
Is it like a British guy who just turned out for Cyprus or something?
No, he was actually born in Cyprus but was raised in Kirkcaldy.
I remember that.
Bloody hell! Imagine that, eh?
So it's like a Scottish name.
Yeah.
I've no idea.
Currently plays for Brechin.
Still going.
Anthony
Yeah,
McDonald.
he's well done.
Because he went to
Wow.
Brechin, didn't he? With Craig Levine. Yeah. When Craig Levine
Yeah.
was
Like bench hunter, Adam just knows everything, honestly.
my Brechin knowledge is unrivaled.
He actually, little bit of anti-McDonald facts for you. He actually went to Cordoba, Spanish club, in October 2020. Signed a 2-year deal, but came crawling back to Cali Thistle a few
He was
months
always
later
in.
in
He
February.
had massive injury problems. From what he came through at the same time as
Disclaimer.
Harry Cochrane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, is that another?
No, it wasn't. I think that is your lot. In fact, it is. There were 3 other players who scored in friendlies. That was Connor Smith, Craig Whiten, and Dario Zanata as well.
I was going to say Whiting, but I was like,
Nata.
I couldn't think of if he'd actually scored.
Right. Well, just before we go then, let's have a quick look at which Hearts players are on loan at other teams. John, can you go through them for us? What have their fortunes been?
Yeah. So to the usual, just start the same order. So we've got Danda. Obviously he played against Aberdeen. He actually played full 90. So seems like he's kind of won his place back recently. And although they lost 3-1, doesn't sound like he played too badly. I mean, obviously, Hart's career is not going any further, but good to see him getting some game time. Macaulay Tate played for Livy. They lost 3-0 to Motherwell, but he played 70 minutes. So pretty good. Next we've got McLucky. Hamilton drew 0-0 with Stenhousemuir. He only played 30 minutes. I think he's getting about that in most games. It's kind of just been a bit of a sub. This is one that I quite enjoyed when I saw it pop up. So Sandlands and Stevenson. Montrose beat Kelty Hearts 3-0. Sandlands played the full 90 and Stevenson came on for the second half, 45 minutes. And he actually assisted Sandlands for the third goal. So we goal made in the Hearts
Oh,
academy.
nice.
Kenzie Nair, full 90 again for Spartans. Seems to have been holding that down pretty well, which is good to see.
Mhm.
Plank and Gillies for Stranraer. It was 3-2 against Stirling. Plank played 74 minutes and got an assist. So he's getting more game time. Weirdly though, I was having a look at it and Gillies was in the squad again, which is the second game in a row. And I did actually do a little bit of research just to see if it was maybe an injury or something, but I couldn't find anything that suggests that he's got any sort of problem. Which is a bit weird one because he's been quite involved for them. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an injury that's not reported, or maybe he is coming back.
I tell you what, if he's listening to this podcast, reach out to us and set the record straight as to why you're not getting game time anymore.
Yeah, do Mo Salah. Put your foot down and call the board out. The last couple we've got Forrester. He actually played 90 minutes in St Johnstone's 0-0 draw with Wraith. So he's finally back playing, whipping in the same cross for 90 minutes. Vargas played 24 minutes for the Costa Rican team. I was just not going to try and pronounce it again. Another kind of strange one, and the last one I've got was McFarlane. Wasn't in the squad for the Alloa game. So not sure if there's anything behind that or it's a bit strange, but could just be that he's maybe taken a knock or something, but I couldn't see anything that suggests that there's any real injury. And that's it.
Oh, thank you very much for that, John. And that wraps it up for this week. Thank you all for joining us. As always, please do join us on our socials before next week. You can find us on X, you can find us on Instagram, and you can occasionally find us on Blue Sky as well. Please do put in your reviews. Please do give us likes and subscribes. All the best, folks. Look out for one another, and we will see you after the Falkirk game. Bye for now.